Hey Springfield, it's Dominique, and you are watching Behind the Scene. And tonight we have Michael Armstrong. Thank you so much for joining us and being on the show. So I want to start off with, who are you? I mean, where did you come from? Did you start out here in Springfield?
No, I mean, depends on how much time we have.
Oh, go for it. Yeah.
Yeah.
How did you start off with music? And
I started off with music. I started writing songs when I was 14 or 15 in Omaha. Well, actually, I first started learning the guitar in Ozark, Missouri. And we had moved from Omaha, Nebraska to Ozark for a year, just due to my dad's job, and that's where I kind of first picked up the guitar, and then we had to move away again. But I continued to write songs and did a little bit in college, just around the campus and stuff. And then made the decision to go to medical school. So the tough decision to bench music for a while and put it on the shelf to make room for all the other stuff. Once I got through med school, I kind of had an idea that medicine wasn't for me, but I was already so far in it that I kind of felt stuck, you know?
Yeah.
So, but I knew there was a big hole in my life. I'm not sure what it was at that time until I picked up the guitar again and started playing music and writing music and stuff again, and walked away from medicine.
Wow.
And so in the whole process of me going through whether I wanted to stay in medicine or not, I was kind of a not so pleasant person to be around. And so my ex, and she's from Springfield, moved with my daughter here, and so I moved up here to be close to her and started playing just open mic nights around the area, the scene. I was blown away when I first got here. There's an open mic night on every night of the week. Nowhere I'd been before had anything like that. Wow. So I just started doing that just to try to meet some friends, meet some people.
So which open mic was your first?
First open mic was the Flea.
Oh, the Flea, yes.
So I remember it was like a snowy night, but yeah.
I think that's actually where I originally met you. Because I do remember you playing there.
Yeah, it was a cool atmosphere. My first impression of Springfield was unbelievable, just because of that, you know, and especially because I was going through kind of a hard time with my relationships and surrounding situations. That it was kind of a respite, you know. It was like something I could look forward to doing every night of the week almost. So.
Well, that's awesome. So a total amount of time of you being a musician, what would you say?
How old am I now? Since I was 14. So, a long time.
A long time. Nobody gets to know his age. But since he was 14.
Yeah.
Yes. Well, that's really awesome. So, with your writing style, I mean, it's beautiful. How do you come up with these songs?
I just live my life kind of, and I try to, through learning about how others before me, that I really look at their music with approval and hold it high. My musical idols, when I studied how they wrote songs and learned how they could see the world through a different lens. And I wanted to kind of figure out what that lens was. So I did some experimental things to try to see the world differently. And I could catch glimpses kind of this songwriter's perspective, where you just pick up on the ironic little funny things that are everywhere if you're looking for them. You know, but a lot of times, at least I was too busy looking at my phone or in my own head. You know? So that's what I try to do now, is I just try to pick up on these little ironic moments in my own life and make meaning out of them, I guess. Kind of, build around them. And a lot of it, I don't understand really what the final meaning of it is.
Right.
Till after it's written, and then I kind of reinterpret my own song.
Oh, wow.
And it's kind of like this sounds out there, but it's almost like I'm trying to teach myself how to live right, and I'm asking like the universe questions, and it's coming back through my music. So when I listen to my songs, it's almost like answers that I've been looking for, if that makes sense.
Wow, yeah. That is really cool.
And I've just discovered that literally in like the last week.
Really?
Yeah,
oh wow, that's really cool. And just all of a sudden, just have an epiphany. It's like,
it's just like, I understand now.
I understand now.
Yeah.
So about influences, who are some of your musical influences?
My three main influences that I grew up on were John Mayer, Jason Mraz, and Jack Johnson.
Oh, wow.
Three. I just kind of lost myself in their music. I would listen to their albums start to finish, just one after the other. And I remember being in high school at Ozark, and I was on the baseball team there. And we were driving to an out-of-town tournament, and I was driving, so I got to pick the music. Mm-hmm. And I put on Jack Johnson's CD, and everyone was like, turn it off, turn it off. One guy in particular was like a hardcore metal fan, that's all he listened to. And then I was like, just give it a chance, And so we listened to it all the way down there, all the way back, and by the time we were back, this hard metal fan was just Jack Johnson fanatic, And so
that's awesome.
Yeah.
You introduced him to some new music. That's great. So now I know you don't just do solo stuff. Tell me about your bands.
Yeah, so I have been fortunate enough to meet two guys actually along the open mic circuit, who I feel like we are a great match. And so we originally formed a band. I had a buddy up in Branson, and we were going to go for more of a bluegrassy type, folky type style. And the name of the band was Franklin Transit Authority. I heard your tears as I called out your name. Sound like a gun firing bullets of shame. If your love's the sunlight, then I'm in the shade. But I think the music kind of naturally drifted in a different direction, and our visions were kind of separated, and it was becoming evident. So he went with the Franklin Transit band, and we broke off and decided to start another project called Lumen In The Shade. Mm-hmm. I'm not exactly sure where that kind of came in pieces. It started out as maybe just the shade, and then it just slowly little words got added that kind of brought meaning to the title. So
the meaning of your band is
it's at first I thought it meant that we could be a beacon in the darkness or a light in the darkness, but now like after reinterpreting kind of the stuff, I'm thinking that it means like we're looking for light in the darkness, or both. Could be both, So
it's awesome, and I know we've seen you, and it's beautiful music too. It's really cool to see another band form, and especially with the other two members, because we've known them for a while too. One of them is our team member's son. So
that's the one I can't seem to get nailed down for sure.
Oh, Jacob. Yeah.
He's like, I'll play the show with you, and we'll figure it out after that. I'm like, okay, that's fine.
Yes.
Sounds good.
Love Jacob. So now the song that we're going to be playing here in just a moment, it's a beautiful song. We've already heard it, and you guys are going to hear it right now. So we will be right back after that. And we are back. That is such a beautiful song, and then the meaning that you just, told us about. Just, wow.
Thank you.
It even means, to get to know the musicians' songs on a deeper level. It's just a magical thing, and I feel that that we're blessed to be able to sit here and just hear the background of the story. Not everybody that are going to these shows, they have no idea what it means,
right.
But you're putting your heart and soul out there.
And the fact that someone just has the interest to want to know what the underlying meaning of my songs is like the highest respect that I can. So thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. So let's get into the music industry part of it. Now, what have you observed here in Springfield that's maybe different than other places? Or is there any similarities or wish that there was different?
I feel like when I first, and I haven't been in very many music communities. I mean, I've barely kind of explored the surfaces of Omaha, Lincoln, and some Kansas City. So I'm no expert, but all I know is when I got here, I was blown away by the talent that was here, like the unbelievable talent, And I was used to going to open mics where there was just, it was just a hobby. People wanted to go out and just sing a couple cover songs, but that wasn't what it was here, And people took it seriously, and so I wanted to be a part of this community, from the get-go. But I don't think I was quite ready in my growth as a musician and where I was in life. I think I had a lot of demons to battle and a lot of stuff to figure out. But I got to know a couple guys really well that I could lean on, and they introduced me to the music scene. Everybody is geniuses. Like, there's so much cool stuff going on here that like people just need to know about,
Yeah, absolutely. And why we do what we do to help bring that. Just like a side note, if you ever want to find out more about how rich Springfield is with the music, watch The Center of Nowhere. Yeah, it's a documentary on Amazon.
Well, because Jacob was telling me that this was kind of the Nashville before Nashville, right? Yeah,
yep.
Which is so cool.
Yeah, it was.
You can feel that in the city, that those roots.
Yes.
For sure.
Yeah, and that documentary really shows it.
Center of Nowhere. Cool.
Yeah, so for somebody new to the scene and wants to really find out, why is it so magical here?
Right. There's something in the air.
Something had to have started it, and
right.
all these people are still around.
It's like, why here and not somewhere else? There's something, something kooky.
Yeah, so that's something to check out. So, how do you go about promoting yourself?
I started out kind of just doing the whole recording myself, doing my open mic nights or videos at home and posting them, and I tried different things, tried to be creative with that, and just really wasn't getting anywhere, which is hard nowadays. There's so much out there. So I feel like I was just thinking one day, and I was like, how can I do this a different way? And so I thought, well, what if I just give people a reason to want to post for me? So I decided that, maybe I would just go out and play in random places, and just as if I'm just sitting just to enjoy it, which that's all I was doing, And I didn't look up to see if anybody actually was listening or had heard or anything, and I just pretended as if they were, no matter what.
Yeah.
And so I just said, well, if I do this enough times, eventually someone should probably or hopefully would take notice, and would want to, be interested, and then if they were interested, maybe they'd want to be involved, And so I just took the approach of, lifting up everyone else so that maybe others would want to lift me up too, is kind of the idea behind it,
Right.
Including others including others in the journey that I could feel myself going on was kind of what I would like to do, I have ideas and I've tried little things, but whether it works or it will work, we'll see, I guess.
So what kind of struggles have you had since being here and trying to get yourself out there?
I've had struggles booking gigs. I haven't tried as hard as I could have though. And I think part of me knew that it wasn't quite there yet. And but I had trouble getting people to come to my gigs and to compensation I felt like could have been more adequate in some instances, not all. But I get it. It's a tough time for everybody. So I think these are obstacles that everybody's having in the scene.
Right.
With attendance and everything else.
Yeah. It's been a thing. It's interesting. Even before COVID.
Right.
You need to get more people out there.
Yeah.
Come to the shows.
Yeah, I know there's a really rich music, whether you're an artist or just a fan of music in general. I know there's a lot of people out here that just absorb that stuff, so I've been trying to figure out the best way to get all those people in one room and let us play for them.
Right.
I haven't figured it out yet, though.
Yeah, it's a common thing that I think we're all in the
goal.
industry trying to figure out, how do we do this? Make this another Nashville,
Right.
Because, there's tons of talent.
I feel like, and this should be like its first Springfield, like this place is, I've never actually been to Nashville. I've driven through it once or twice, but I haven't actually stopped, so I don't have it to compare it to. So, but I just know that even if I did go there, I'm pretty sure it would be unique to hear. So I was just kind of thinking one night. This was back when I still smoked, and just thinking like, how can I do this differently? Or I don't want to just keep posting videos of myself all the time. It's not working. And so I thought, how cool would it be if I just went out to random places and put myself in a position to where if someone heard it and wanted to listen, awesome. Like if they didn't, that's okay too, And then just give people a reason to want to post for me was kind of the initial idea. And I've just kind of been steaming along with that until COVID kind of hit, and then I stopped doing that. And then I just kind of went to work on this idea for this band that I had been dreaming of for a long time, and finishing writing this body of work that I feel like is finally done. But so I kind of just went into my little bubble for a while. Until recently, and so I don't know whether my plan worked or not. It was worth a try, even if it didn't.
Well, I mean, you're on here now because
that's a good sign. Go to the right direction.
We want to cover you. We want to know more. So, did you take part in the Queen City Shout open mic during quarantine? Did you hear about that? Oh, you did.
I did. Yeah, no, it's such a cool idea. But
That's awesome.
So I would, this was back when we were moving into the first house here in Springfield. It was empty and we were painting the walls, and so I would go into different rooms and do the live streams from there. It's kind of cool.
Awesome.
And then I did a couple from my dad's garage up in Branson. So
you kept busy during quarantine.
Kept busy.
Yeah, and one of the things, being stuck in your house by yourself, and of course all the stuff that you were going through anyways, you had a lot of time to think, so a lot of great music came out of that.
It was almost like it was my escape kind of, It was like, I wasn't sure what to focus on really,
Right.
And so it was just like, if I could channel whatever I was feeling in one direction and funnel it into creativity, just try to will something into existence. At that point, there was really nowhere else to go but up. So.
So, do you have any advice for other musicians that are just starting out, like songwriting and stuff, or even playing guitar? besides practicing, because obviously that is a thing.
It's a
Everybody
thing,
should
yeah, it's a
practice.
Practice does.
Yeah. Is
No.
there any advice that you could give people that are just really trying to, do it for the first time ever?
I think just trying to stay true to yourself is my biggest lesson I think I've learned, and what I would is just, if you want to fast track finding your authentic artist, stop trying to be so much like other artists that you see, and just focus more on figuring out who you are, and what your sound is. And I wish I would have done that a lot sooner, but it feels like, I've kind of gone in a full circle and I'm back to the artist that I originally was that I was looking for.
Oh, wow.
So that would be my advice, is if, learn from the greats that have walked before you, try to emulate them, but then embrace the difference between your sound and what they actually sound like. That makes sense.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
That is some really great advice.
At least that's how I look at it. It's like the accumulation of the difference between what you sound like and what you're going for makes up like your sound,
Right.
in my mind.
So how often do you practice? Do you have set time, or you just just sit
so
and
what
play?
I have kind of this routine that I built, which is at the luxury of having time to build it, and I kind of have this routine where in the evenings or later hours I will play for a couple hours, and usually I'll just warm up with a couple cover songs intentionally with the artist that I kind of want to embody in that session. So I'll cover a couple songs, and then I'll practice a couple of my songs that I have already written, and then I'll have a handful of rotating new songs that I'm working on. And so usually what I'll try and do is I'll go through 2 or 3 of them, and I just one pass, and then I record everything on my phone. And then the next day, as much as possible, I have earbuds in my ear, listening to the recordings from the night before, over and over and over again, with the idea that the places where I cringe each time it plays over and over and over again are the places that naturally weed themselves out of the music the next time I take a pass at it.
Wow.
And the things that I enjoy about it, that I hear it over and over and over again, I'm like, oh, that's good, take a mental note of that. Those naturally are highlighted in the song the next pass I take. So I kind of peel it away layer by layer,
Awesome.
It's hard to know when a song's done, but I don't know. I look at it as when I can listen to it start to finish and I don't cringe or want to I don't really like that. I don't have any of those, it's done.
Yeah, is there any music that you wrote and you just don't play anymore because it just wasn't fitting?
Yeah, lots.
Or
I had a lot of anger. Had a lot of anger when I was first kind of figuring out what I was going to do next after I walked away from medicine and everything, and I put my blame on a lot of people that didn't deserve it, and a lot of my music came out bitter, angry, and woe is me is the best way I could put it. And I didn't like who I was then, and it came out in my music. So I don't play that anymore. But I think it was necessary to write. I think my mistake was making it public, was posting it. That was because I realized that good music should never throw other people under the bus. Good music should lift people up, and if someone connects with a song, it's because it makes them feel good when they listen to it. And nobody feels good when they're put in the shoes of a not so nice person, So I decided that I was going to be done writing that music and playing that music, but it was part of my process, part of my grief, or it's how I worked through things. I just should have kept it private. So yeah.
You don't think any of that music that you don't sing anymore, you don't think that could have helped somebody get through their own process of whatever they're going through? I think
people can connect to lots of different music. And that's why I haven't taken it down off my social media. No, I mean, for multiple reasons. Also because I'm lazy and I just haven't taken the time to go and delete everything. It's just like, oh, that's me, you know. And if it does, that's amazing. But I'm not going to focus on it anymore because it's keeping me from moving on.
Right. It's like a book. You're done with it. You don't want to reread it.
Right.
You're done.
Served its purpose.
Put it on the shelf and
it served its purpose for my life. It has, if it can help someone else, that's even better. But I'm going to I guess focus on moving forward. Good.
So, do you have any albums or anything recorded like professionally yet?
Nope, nothing professional yet. I have a home live recording with the three of us. Playing in this living room of the new house that I just rented. And we didn't have any furniture or anything yet, but we all just kind of sat on the floor and put my phone on the windowsill and we played so I had the album written and planned out and it's just not recorded in the studio yet. But so we played it start to finish.
Oh, cool.
And then we went and played that same set at the Odyssey on Thursday. But I have that recording.
Oh, neat.
And I plan to do something with that.
Eventually get into that.
I'd love to record a studio album with this album and have that be like a live album.
Oh, that would be cool. Yes. Well, we have a lot of great people out here that do recordings, so yeah, a lot of great people. So let's get to your second song. Tell me a little bit about this one.
So this is a song called The Heart Won. And this is a song I've written a couple songs with Jacob Ferguson, and this song started out as kind of his idea that he had in his head, and we were sitting there and he showed it to me. I was like, I like this, but what if it was happy chords, you know? And so we changed it around, and I was just playing with it one night in my garage, my mom's garage in Kansas City, and I couldn't remember the second verse, and so I just threw this like bluegrass spin on it, and it ended up sounding cool. And this is a side note, just like last week, I was listening to a recording of me rehearsing a song, and I just wasn't pronouncing the last syllables of the word once. And so it was sounding like the heart won in my earbuds, you know, and I just had never really picked up on it. I just thought I was saying once and just being lazy with my words. But then I realized that, like, no, how cool would that be? Like, no, this says the heart won, you know? And so I kept it that, and I changed the name to The Heart Won, and it actually, like, fits perfectly into the album that way. So
oh, wow.
It's strange. Yeah.
That is really awesome. Okay, so we are going to get to the second song, and we will be back.
Sky, she's got the moon in her eyes, with cotton candy clouds. We're still full of dreams and deep fried things, with red solo cups to wash them down. And I just put my last dime, put my pride on the line, gonna give it all I've got. I've got my target in sight, and I think I just might win a kiss from my baby tonight. The heart wants, the heart wants, the heart wants what it wants.
again, just beautiful music. So
Thank you.
let's get to etiquette, in the business and stuff. Now, being really new, I'm sure you still have seen other shows and maybe have picked up on how other performers act, or act positive or negative. And is there anything that you have picked up on that's really stuck with you and like, oh man, maybe I should do that when I get out there more?
Yeah, I just think to me, I don't really think about it any different, like separately than just being a human, how to treat other people in general.
Right.
Like you're in music, I'm gonna treat you with my music way.
Right.
But like it's just, I think I had a really big ego in the beginning, and I had never been in a band before. And I was just trying to pick up on what it meant to be in a band, what all the different the intricacies of all the different relationships, And so I just kind of tried to observe. I went out to Bash in the Grass and kind of watched those bands, and I had some influences that I've kind of looked up to and just observed, and so I guess just my thing is just respect, it's a two-way street, and if everyone treats each other with respect or tries to lift up the other person, then everyone's lifted up, if everyone's was kind of what I learned from coming. Yeah. Anyway.
From coming, from other places. So we have mainly seen you at the Odyssey. So what is it about the Odyssey, with that you've realized with good etiquette and stuff like that?
Yeah. No, I feel like they do things the right way. Like it's an open mic, but they make it an event. Even if you're a band that isn't used to playing on a stage with lights or with a system, you get a chance, and people don't judge you, and people are very accepting and usually pretty attentive. And it's just done the right way, and so I respected that place and the people that are involved with it. I appreciate, how they run things. So, yeah, I played this last open mic. I texted Krista, who I thought was kind of going to host that time, and asked if our band could maybe do the headlining spot, and she said yes. So I was stoked and got busy to work, kind of wanting this to be a show that people could take seriously, I guess is how you put it. So with the promo pictures and the backsplash projection, everything timed out and planned. But from the very beginning, I told myself, if nobody shows up to this show, this venue, it doesn't matter. Like, this is going to be done the right way. And the people that I reached out to and asked, did come, and that was awesome. And so when I walked into the venue, it was like just perfectly done on accident. You know what I mean? We were changing the name of the band to Lumen In The Shade that night, and that was going to be the announcement that we actually talked about before the. But when we walked in immediately, I noticed there was like one beam of light. There was a moon that was just like the one lumen, and everything else was shade. And I was just like, oh yeah, these people get me.
Wow.
These people get me. I got chills. And I was like, no, this is perfect. Don't turn on the light. Don't do anything. This, no projections, no backsplash. Like just do this, us, And the people that have really meant a lot to me along the way, like Jim Davis, the guy has the heart of a lion, and just like he's so cool. So I'm glad he was there. He got pictures and videos of it, and he was always very positive and supportive of the scene, and that's so cool. Especially when that dude deserves respect up the wazoo for he walks to gigs.
Right.
Like, come on, that's so cool.
Right.
Anyway, so everything was just so, and it almost seemed like people were reading my mind, and that to me is the ultimate sign of respect. Like caring enough to want to dig into the details of what makes this musician or artist or band a band, and then absorbing that into the entire like ambiance of the experience. That's so cool.
Yeah.
That's so cool. So I didn't know whether it was done on accident or intentionally, but either way, like, thank you, you know.
Everything was just meant to be.
Right. Just
Came
fell into
together,
place.
yeah.
Fell into place.
Very, very easily. Well, that is really cool. So what kind of things do you feel like you need to work on yourself before saying having that next big, that show that you want? What areas in your music do you feel like you need to get stronger about?
Musically or
musically, just as a performer. Do you feel like you need better stage presence? What do you feel like you are struggling with?
Yeah, so I mean, I think, so I grew up in sports, and so I think there's a lot to be said for coaching, and so my stage presence or just my dynamics with the band kind of on stage is something I need to work on. I just don't have a lot of experience with it.
Mm-hmm.
Just a person just in general, like a band director, or someone to direct or help keep the band on the line of grace kind of thing, is something that I think I need personally. Just trying to stay on that line myself in life.
Direction.
Yeah.
Like, hey, you need to get this done.
Accountable.
Keeping you accountable. Yeah.
Say, get your butt up. Because I can live up here quite a bit.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Yeah, and just get spacey and like, oh shit,
right.
I needed to do that.
Right.
Yeah, I think we all have that kind of problem. But when you're, trying to do your
guitar for an hour instead.
I was supposed to do that, but I'm coming up with a great song.
Too often.
That I don't think I will get to play because I don't have a gig.
Right. Exactly.
So let's go back to the album that you've been working so hard on. So where do you see it going from where you are now? I mean, what other steps do you need to do?
Need to record it.
Well, yeah, before you get to that point of recording.
Yeah. Otherwise it's done. Yeah, the album's done. Otherwise, other than just getting in the studio. And,
So you're just waiting. You're just like, okay, I just need to get in.
I
just need to get in there and get it done,
it's
and
expensive,
it'll be great.
Yes. So I just need to record it, and I would love to work with a good producer that can kind of understand the direction that I'm trying to go and help guide me there. I don't have really hardly any home production experience. I can make my way around a DAW, but so that's really the next step. And then I'd like to release it on all streaming platforms. So,
explain more about the direction you want to go on. What kind of direction do you want to go?
So, I know we started off with that question about my influences, John Mayer, Jack Johnson, and Jason Mraz. And so I think this album, it tells a story, first of all. It tells a story of not only kind of an emotional ups and downs, but of me kind of discovering myself and through my music and what I've learned from it or what I've taken from it. So that's kind of the direction of the story of the album. And I guess the production, I'm looking for a mix between the vibe of Jack Johnson on some songs with the attitude of Jason Mraz plus the self-belief of John Mayer, that hits you in the heart, rock, but also it has its soft moments at the same time. But overall, just authentic is kind of what I'm going for. Intentional and authentic.
Okay. Yeah, so you guys out there, we know who you are. If you have an idea, get a hold of them. And about that, how do they get a hold of you?
Yeah, so I just I set up an Instagram account for our new band. It's Lumen In The Shade. So Lumen, like light bulb lumen, in the shade. You can find us on Instagram. And I'm in the process of setting up the website for the band. But you can reach me at michaelstantonmusic@gmail.com. And music is spelled with a K. So music with a K.
Okay.
So yeah. And I don't think I should get my phone number out.
No.
That's fine.
Just as long as they can find you on the interwebs to contact you.
Yep.
Even to book you or whatever it might be. So now this last song that we're going to be playing was at the Odyssey that we filmed.
Mm-hmm.
So just talk about a little bit about that song.
That sounds like this song.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so that was a song that I wrote when I was in a pretty dark place personally. I was in Lincoln and had just made the decision to kind of walk away from everything, and had a lot of questions that I was just kind of like yelling at the universe and wasn't getting anything back. So silence like this is just making a silence audible. Basically, it's like screaming into the silence. So it's a very loud song. It's an emotional song, but it's to fill the silence that I was finding at the time. So.
Awesome. I want to thank you for being on the show, and we would love to have you back another time. But we are going to have your last song play us out. And so, guys, thanks for tuning in, and until next time, we will see you later.